the world watched in horror. September 11, 2001, a day that began like any other, soon transformed into one of unimaginable terror and sorrow. As the dust settled on Ground Zero, a sense of collective grief and outrage swept the nation. Yet, even as the nation mourned, questions lingered, challenging the official narrative. In the wake of the devastating attacks, America yearned for answers. The 9/11 Commission report, while praised for its thoroughness, did not quell all doubts. The 9/11 Commission report, though intended to provide closure, inadvertently cast a long shadow of doubt. Some of the report's findings, particularly those related to the collapse of the World Trade Center towers, seemed to contradict the observations of witnesses and the analysis of some engineers and architects. In the years following 9/11, a burgeoning movement of dissent emerged, challenging the official narrative and demanding a new investigation into the attacks. Central to this movement were the growing questions surrounding the collapse of the World Trade Center towers. The aftermath of 9/11 was a time of immense pain, confusion, and uncertainty. Conspiracy theories, by their very nature, offer an alternative lens through which to view complex and often traumatic events. The rise of the internet and social media played a pivotal role in the proliferation and amplification of 9/11 conspiracy theories. The internet's ability to connect people with shared interests, regardless of their geographic location, created virtual echo chambers where alternative narratives could flourish with little to no challenge from opposing viewpoints. The enduring appeal of conspiracy theories, particularly those surrounding events as significant as 9/11, lies in their ability to provide a sense of meaning and control in a world that often feels chaotic and unpredictable. Conspiracy theories offer a narrative framework that can help individuals make sense of complex and traumatic events, providing a sense of order amidst chaos. In the darkest corners of the internet, and whispered among those who question everything, lies a chilling theory that elements within the US government knew about the 9/11 attacks beforehand and allowed them to happen. This theory, often dubbed the inside job theory, is arguably the most controversial and emotionally charged of all the 9/11 conspiracy theories. Section 2. The Controlled Demolition Hypothesis, Anatomy of a Theory. The image of the Twin Towers collapsing remains seared into the collective memory. The speed and symmetry of the collapses fueled the belief in controlled demolition. This theory hinges on the assertion that the structural damage was insufficient to cause a total collapse. They argue that jet fuel burns at a temperature too low to melt steel. Proponents point to molten steel in the debris as evidence of explosives. They highlight the speed of the collapses, resembling controlled demolitions. The symmetrical nature of the collapses is also cited as supporting evidence. Critics argue the evidence is not there, explaining the collapse as progressive. The heat weakened the steel supports, causing them to buckle and fail. The debate highlights the complex interplay of science, speculation, and the human need for answers. While the official explanation is supported by experts, the controlled demolition theory resonates with those skeptical of the official narrative. Section 3. Cui bono? Following the money trail. In the shadowy world of conspiracy theories, there is a Latin phrase, cui bono, who benefits. It seeks to uncover hidden motives and follow the trail of power and profit. Some theorists focus on the financial markets, alleging insider trading before 9/11. They point to unusual trading patterns, particularly in companies that suffered significant losses. The SEC investigated but found no evidence of insider trading. They attributed the activity to rumors and legitimate strategies. Despite this, the theory fuels ongoing speculation. Section 1. The Pentagon Attack, Anomalies and Unanswered Questions. While the World Trade Center attacks dominate the 9/11 conspiracy landscape, the attack on the Pentagon, the very symbol of American military might, has also generated its share of controversy and speculation. The official narrative states that American Airlines Flight 77, en route from Dulles International Airport to Los Angeles, crashed into the west side of the Pentagon at 9:37 a.m. The impact, a devastating blow that shook the building to its core, caused a partial collapse and ignited a raging inferno. However, some researchers and eyewitnesses have raised questions about the official account, pointing to what they perceive as inconsistencies and anomalies in the evidence. One of the most persistent questions revolves around the size and shape of the impact hole in the Pentagon's facade. Some argue that the relatively small size of the hole is inconsistent with the damage expected from a Boeing 757, suggesting that the Pentagon may have been hit by a smaller aircraft, perhaps a missile. Adding fuel to the fire, some eyewitnesses claimed that they did not see a large passenger jet approaching the Pentagon in the moments leading up to the impact. These accounts, often contradictory and lacking physical evidence, have nevertheless fueled speculation that the official narrative is a fabrication, designed to conceal the true nature of the attack. The lack of readily available video footage of the impact, despite the Pentagon being one of the most heavily surveilled buildings in the world, has also fueled suspicion. While the government did release limited security camera footage showing the approach and impact of what appears to be Flight 77, some argue that the footage is inconclusive and may have been edited or tampered with to support the official narrative. Section 2. Insider Trading. Rumors of Profit Amidst Tragedy. In the wake of the 9/11 attacks, rumors of insider trading began to circulate. Whispers suggested individuals with prior knowledge profited from the stock market's plunge. Unusual trading activity in airlines and insurance companies fueled the theory. The SEC launched a probe but found no evidence of insider trading. Despite this, the theory persists, tapping into beliefs about greed and corruption. Section 3. The media's role shaping public perception. In the chaotic aftermath of the 9/11 attacks, the media played a pivotal role in shaping public perception. News outlets provided a constant stream of images and information, bringing the horror and heroism of that day into living rooms across the globe. However, the media's role in shaping the narrative, particularly in the context of conspiracy theories, is complex and contentious. The media played a crucial role in disseminating information, providing a platform for experts, and holding those in power accountable. News outlets scrutinized the 9/11 Commission report, giving voice to those who questioned the official narrative. The media has also been accused of fueling conspiracy theories both intentionally and unintentionally. Section 1. Sifting through the ashes. Evidence and counter-evidence. The chasm between those who accept the official narrative of 9/11 and those who subscribe to conspiracy theories often comes down to the interpretation of evidence. Both sides point to the same set of facts: the collapse of the World Trade Center towers, the attack on the Pentagon, the unusual trading activity in the financial markets, but draw vastly different conclusions. Those who question the official narrative often point to what they perceive as anomalies, inconsistencies, or gaps in the evidence, suggesting that these discrepancies point to a cover-up or a more sinister truth. They scrutinize every detail, searching for clues that might unravel the official story and reveal a hidden agenda. For example, proponents of the controlled demolition theory argue that the speed and symmetry of the World Trade Center tower collapses, along with the presence of molten steel in the debris, are clear indicators of a controlled demolition, not a collapse caused by fire. They point to the lack of precedent for steel-framed buildings collapsing due to fire alone as evidence that something else must have been at play. Conversely, those who accept the official narrative argue that the evidence, when viewed objectively and within the context of known scientific principles, overwhelmingly supports the conclusion that the attacks were carried out by Al-Qaeda and that the buildings collapsed due to the combined effects of the impacts and the ensuing fires. They point to the overwhelming consensus among structural engineers and fire safety experts that the heat from the fires, while not hot enough to melt steel, was sufficient to weaken the steel supports to the point of failure. They also cite the numerous eyewitness accounts, physical evidence recovered from the scenes, and the confessions of Al-Qaeda operatives as proof that the official narrative is accurate. Section 2. The Battle of Experts, Debating the Narrative. The debate over 9/11 is often framed as a battle of experts, with each side claiming the weight of scientific evidence and expert opinion on their side. Architects and engineers who question the official narrative have formed groups like Architects and Engineers for 9/11's Truth, publishing reports and giving presentations challenging the official explanation for the collapse of the World Trade Center towers. They argue that the official investigations, including the 9/11's Commission report, were flawed and incomplete, and that they failed to adequately address key questions about the collapses. They call for a new, independent investigation, one that is not beholden to political interests and is committed to uncovering the truth, no matter how uncomfortable it may be. On the other side of the debate, mainstream scientists, engineers, and government agencies stand by the official narrative. They argue that the claims made by those who question the official story are not supported by the evidence and often rely on a misunderstanding or misrepresentation of scientific principles. They point to the rigorous testing and peer review that underpin the official investigations and argue that the conclusions reached by those investigations are sound. They caution against giving credence to conspiracy theories, which they believe can distract from the real issues and undermine trust in legitimate institutions. The debate over 9/11 highlights the challenges of interpreting complex technical information and the difficulty of reaching consensus in the face of competing narratives. It also underscores the importance of critical thinking, media literacy, and the need to evaluate information from a variety of sources before forming an opinion. Section 3. The Psychology of Belief: Why Conspiracy Theories Endure. The enduring appeal of conspiracy theories, particularly those surrounding events as significant and traumatic as 9/11, can be partially explained by the psychology of belief. Human beings are hardwired to seek patterns and meaning in the world around them. In the face of tragedy, chaos, or uncertainty, our brains often struggle to accept that random, senseless events can occur. Conspiracy theories offer a sense of order and control in a world that can often feel chaotic and unpredictable. They provide a narrative framework that can help individuals make sense of complex and traumatic events, offering a sense of agency and control in situations where they might otherwise feel powerless. Furthermore, conspiracy theories often tap into existing societal anxieties, fears, and mistrust of authority. In the wake of 9/11, with its attendant anxieties about terrorism, government surveillance, and the erosion of civil liberties, conspiracy theories about government complicity in the attacks resonated with those who already harbored suspicions about the government's motives and actions. The internet and social media have created an environment where conspiracy theories can flourish. The echo chamber effect, where individuals are primarily exposed to information that confirms their existing beliefs, can reinforce and amplify these beliefs, even if they are not supported by evidence. Moreover, conspiracy theories often tap into a sense of belonging and identity. Believing in a conspiracy theory can be a way for individuals to connect with like-minded others, to feel like they are part of a select group that possesses special knowledge or insights that the masses do not. This sense of belonging can be particularly appealing for those who feel marginalized or alienated from mainstream society. Section 1. The Enduring Legacy: 9/11s and the Erosion of Trust. The 9/11 attacks were not merely a physical assault on American soil. They were a profound psychological and social trauma. The collapse of the Twin Towers, symbols of American economic might, shook the nation's sense of security and its belief in its own invulnerability. In the aftermath of the attacks, the nation grappled with a collective trauma, a shared sense of loss, vulnerability, and fear. The emergence and persistence of 9/11 conspiracy theories can be seen as a symptom of this trauma, a manifestation of the deep-seated need to make sense of the senseless, to find a narrative that could restore a sense of order and control to a world turned upside down. The official narrative, for some, failed to fully address the lingering questions and doubts, creating a vacuum that was quickly filled by alternative explanations, no matter how improbable. The proliferation of these theories, fueled by the internet and social media, has had a corrosive effect on public trust. The spread of misinformation and disinformation has eroded faith in institutions, experts, and even the very notion of objective truth. The line between healthy skepticism and unfounded suspicion has become increasingly blurred, making it difficult to engage in reasoned debate about complex and challenging issues. The legacy of 9/11 is not just one of loss and remembrance, but also one of profound societal change. The attacks ushered in an era of heightened security measures, increased surveillance, and a more interventionist foreign policy. The war on terror, launched in the wake of the attacks, has had far-reaching consequences, both domestically and internationally, shaping the geopolitical landscape for decades to come. Section 2. The Unanswered Questions: Seeking Truth in the Shadows. Over 2 decades after the events of 9/11, the debate over what truly transpired that day continues to rage. While the official narrative, as presented by the 9/11's Commission report, remains the dominant explanation, a significant number of people continue to question its validity, pointing to what they perceive as inconsistencies, anomalies, and unanswered questions. The search for truth, however, is a treacherous path, fraught with misinformation, disinformation, and the ever-present danger of confirmation bias. In the digital age, where information flows freely and unfiltered, it can be difficult to separate fact from fiction, evidence from conjecture. The echo chamber effect of social media can reinforce existing beliefs, making it challenging to engage with alternative perspectives or to critically evaluate one's own assumptions. The enduring legacy of 9/11 is not just one of loss and remembrance, but also one of unanswered questions and a persistent search for truth. The events of that day continue to cast a long shadow, shaping our worldviews, our politics, and our understanding of the fragility of peace and security. The quest for truth, however, must be grounded in a commitment to evidence-based inquiry, critical thinking, and a willingness to engage with diverse perspectives. The search for answers cannot be driven by ideology, blind faith, or the desire to confirm pre-existing biases. As we move forward, it is essential to remember that the pursuit of truth is an ongoing process, one that requires vigilance, humility, and a commitment to open-mindedness. Only through a shared commitment to these principles can we hope to navigate the complex and often treacherous terrain of historical inquiry and arrive at a more complete understanding of the events that have shaped our world.